In the dark of the night when the stars align, there's a place you can go where the stories unwind. Slavs in the chair bringing news from the skies. All things DC, it's where the truth lies. From
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Watchtower where we talk all things DC. I hope you're all here for some fun, and I think we're going to have some fun tonight. There's some news, I guess. I don't know. They're not so much news. There's some interesting happenings, I guess we could say, that occurred over the last few days, and we're going to discuss those, and I think we're just going to get into it. I think that's what we're going to do. I did have a plan to have a guest on the show this week, but it didn't work out, so hopefully he's able to come on next week. I think that's going to work out nice. But how's everything going? How are you all doing? I tell you what, yeah, it was an interesting week. Definitely an interesting week. I know there's some of you that want me to talk about what happened with Matt Jarbo, and there really wasn't anything that happened there. He made a video about a post I made. I then made a video about him making that video and the discussions we had on Twitter about it. And then he wanted me to go on his live show last night. I didn't know that his live show was so late. I wake up at 5 a.m, so I was in bed by the time his show started. I wasn't able to make it. If he is able to have a show on the weekends, if he does it that late, if he's able to do something later in the night or later like that, and it's on a weekend, I can probably make it happen, unless he's able to do things earlier. I did watch just a little bit of the show. I saw that he started talking and dissecting my video, but I didn't have a chance to watch the whole thing. Was at work, came home, did dinner with the family, spent time with the family, and now I'm here. I didn't have time to sit down and really watch and hear what he had to say about the video. So I don't really have much to say about what Matt Jarbo had to say about my video, but I do plan on watching it. From that point, because he's willing to have a conversation, I'm not going to do a response until I hopefully can have a conversation with him, because that's what I like to do. That's what I want to do. So that's the plan with that. I know that there's some other discussions, or not discussions, but other people that some of you want me to talk about. There is one on here that I will bring up in a moment, but let's move on to happier things right now. Okay, I don't want to talk all negative and bad about things sometimes, and I want to be positive about things. But before we do that, who is all here? Let's see who's here. We got Trayvon here. He goes, "I'm here." What's going on, Trayvon? Hope for Life says, "Pretty sure we're going to get a teaser for the official trailer before it releases tomorrow. Maybe we'll talk about that later on." Trayvon says, "You sure you're not a fan of the Batman? That background would fit right into that movie." Critic Chris says, "Hey Slav, everyone." Matthew Goddett, "The doom saying over Superman is kind of strange, not very organic in my opinion, or balanced. Even coming from someone who loved Man of Steel, I see it as a waste of energy. Wait for the movie." Yeah. All right. So, as I like to do on this show, is highlight some fan art that we see come across the social medias. This is one I saw just a couple days ago. I thought this was really, really nice and really, really adorable looking, of Superman and Crypto. Great piece of art from Job Huts. I think we've actually highlighted him before on here, but I think it's great. Then there's another piece here. The suit looks badass, says James DeMichelle. This is a great one right here as well. Looks awesome. Again, this is just great things that we're seeing. This shows the excitement that people have for the upcoming Superman movie. I love to see it. Lawrence Fury is here, says, "What up?" What's going on, Lawrence Fury? How's it shaking? All right. So I know people wanted me to bring this up. Donovan, specifically, I don't know if you're still in here, man, if you're still in the chat. I know you wanted me to bring this up. This guy, Sean, what's his name? Sean O'Rourke. I don't know if you can hear it. I should probably do this. Share audio. There we go. Sean O'Rourke, who does his best Randall Graves impression with his backwards hat and the way he dresses, which isn't a bad thing. That's not a dig at him. I mean, he's if you're a fan of Kevin Smith movies, it's not a dig. So I hope he doesn't take that as a dig. He apparently did a live stream. I guess I don't know if this was last night or earlier today. Not sure when the live stream was, but they're making fun of this child who is part of wearing the crypto shirt for the Superman movie. And this is kind of what the video is. So I'm going to play it. I believe you should be able to hear the audio. Let me know if you can't hear the audio.
I wanted to bring this up. So I want to ask everyone, is Sean just trolling or does this kid look depressed?
He looks sad. I'm not going to lie. That looks like a kid is getting bullied at school.
This looks more like an ad for
this kid
or something.
This kid looks like he's trying. This kid looks like he wants to play Wesley in the reboot of Mr. Belvedere.
Joe. What's her name? The girl from Archie
Why are we
Bunker.
picking on a kid?
What's the girl?
So I love the person here who goes, "Why are we picking on a kid?" Absolutely. This is what people are not understanding here is you want to trash on the movie, go for it. You want to try, like, if you don't want this movie to do well, if you think it's not going to do well, that's one thing. But why are you picking on a kid? That's first and foremost. Okay. Why are you picking on a kid? Secondly, they sit here and act like this kid just looks totally depressed and totally just not willing and not wanting to be there for the photo shoot. I will admit, I'm going to admit this here myself. This probably wasn't the best picture to use for, so like sporting attire for a Superman movie. Probably not. Do I think he looks depressed? No. I actually think it looks like he was like mid smile there. Like if you look at it, it looks like he was just about to smile for the picture. And it looks like probably the photographer was just like snapping pictures. Why they use this one, beyond me. I don't know why they did. Probably not the best picture to use. But does this mean that the marketing is bad? No, I don't think this is indicative of bad marketing. I just don't know why they used this picture, because it's not about the kid's face necessarily. It's about the shirt that they're wearing. But yes, when you look at a model, you want the model to portray the excitement and the passion behind the product. I get that. And that's kind of what they're saying here. So while I get where they're coming from in that regard, I do. I'm going to be honest with you. I get where they're coming from in that regard. I think that all these people are coming at it from such a negative point of view that honestly, if I was looking at a let's say a catalog or going online and looking at all the photos of the t-shirts and this would have popped up, I wouldn't have had a second thought about it. I wouldn't have. And I don't think a lot of other people would have had a second thought about it. The only reason why there's a second thought about it is because everyone is looking, not everyone, but all these people are looking for a reason to bitch and complain. And that's kind of the problem here. But let's continue.
Girl's name from Archie Bunker, the blonde.
You got Sally Struthers?
Sally Struthers. Remember her? For 80 cents, you can feed this child. That's what this kid looks like. This kid looks like.
I want this kid to be happy.
I'm going to jump up
You put a
here.
kid that looks this movie from Go. The first photo drop is him tying his boots. He looks depressed, like he doesn't want to go to work.
That's right. You're right. Holy shit.
Then they get him laying in the snow, all beat up, and the dog has to save him. And then it's just one thing after.
So I've been very open myself. He talks about the first photo of Superman, putting on the boots and everything. I've said from the very beginning, I did not think that was a good photo for the first photo, but not because of what he was doing. I just don't think it was a good photo. So I again agree. This wasn't bad. The teaser trailer wasn't bad. And the guy up here, I don't know what his name is, the guy at the top above Sean here, he actually says, he brings up the point where, I don't know if you noticed this, but we've never heard Superman's voice at all yet. In the teaser trailer, we didn't hear his voice. And you know why? A lot of scoopers are saying that it's because it's all jokey and it's a mess in that way. And they're bringing up this whole idea that they don't know what they're doing with the marketing. And I sit back and I know you guys understand. And Resident Justice is here, who was on that stream there, which is awesome. He goes, Sean is trolling you because you keep reacting to him and going crazy over his opinions. If you just chilled out, he wouldn't poke the bear. And he's talking to Donovan there. But he, and I'm not saying, because the guy at the top, he says he doesn't even believe what the Scoopers are saying, which kudos to him. I give him a lot of credit. So, but a lot of people, when they sit there and say these kind of things and believe what the Scoopers say about there being no words and being all jokey, and they're sitting there and saying, yeah, the teaser trailer is bad or things like that. These are people who I can't believe don't understand the concept of what a teaser trailer is supposed to be. These people who are on YouTube saying that they're movie commentators, saying that they're pop culture commentators, yet they don't understand how marketing for movies, for pop culture works. And to me, that's just baffling. I don't understand how they can sit there and criticize a teaser, criticize the marketing for this movie, when they should fully understand how marketing works within the industry if they sit there and claim to be a commentator on the industry. Because that teaser trailer was 100% doing what a teaser trailer does. A teaser trailer doesn't give away everything. A teaser trailer doesn't always, more often than not, give you dialogue. It doesn't give you dialogue to the movie. It doesn't necessarily give you story beats. It doesn't give you everything you need to see, especially 6-7 months before the movie comes out. That stuff you start to get at trailer number 1, at full trailer number 1, and then trailer number 2, you get more. But these people, they just want to twist these narratives to try and fit and try and make it seem like things are bad. Marketing is bad. And that's kind of what why I wanted to bring this up here, is because the marketing is not as bad as what they're saying. I admit there have been a couple flub ups. That first photo was not great. This is a little wonky, but again, like I said, this photo here, nobody would have batted an eye at it had not somebody purposely been going to look out and go and found it. Honestly, the allowance of them going and allowing people to get as many behind the scenes photos as they did, that was kind of a screw up as well. I mean, I didn't mind it. I didn't mind seeing all that stuff, but they should have tried to limit that as much as possible, because now there's this weird, misconception of things for the movie. The marketing, though, has been right on point for what this movie and when this movie is coming out. The marketing is going to ramp up right around this time. I mean, by the end of March, beginning of April, that's when the marketing is going to ramp up. That's what the speculation has always been. It's going to ramp up. We're going to get the first full trailer probably within the next few weeks. And then we're going to see toys coming out. We're going to see a lot more merchandise coming out. Then we're going to get another trailer. Then we're going to get a whole shitload of TV spots. And it's just going to start ramping up. We already see the actors, because they're out doing press for other movies that they're in. They're starting to talk more about Superman. So we saw, what is his name? Kerrigan? What's his first name? Whatever. Guy who's playing Metamorpho. He talked about a little bit about it. We saw Jason Momoa talking about even Supergirl. We're going to see more of that as these actors are going to be going on the press tour in the coming months. The marketing's fine. The marketing is completely fine. Heck, Walmart now is selling new Superman shirts. Walmart. Picked one up for my son just yesterday. Marketing's fine. That's not the problem. The problem is people are specifically looking for reasons to hate on the movie. That's the problem. And if you look hard enough with any movie, you're going to find a reason to be upset and point out things that are wrong. It doesn't matter what movie it is. It doesn't matter who the director is. You're going to find reasons to be like, oh, look, that's screwed up. Oh, that's messed up. Oh, that doesn't look right. Like, who's honestly going and looking for a picture of a kid like this? Who's looking at that kind of stuff? Nobody is, except for people who are specifically looking for it. And that's where the problem is. That's where the problem is. So when you get back to it, it's kind of like, okay, well, let's focus on the good. Let's focus on the positive. Let's focus on the excitement that's coming. And that's where we need to go. But I want to know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about all this. This is just one of those things. I see Donovan. You are one of those guys on X. I give you a lot of credit because you go at these guys far more than I do. But sometimes I think you got to let it go. I know I get a little heated myself and allow myself to go at it too much. But perhaps now's the time to back off. Like Resident Justice I saw was saying here is he just kind of does it to rile up people. And I know I've done it myself. I've been promoting this idea of Superman Day to just focus on the positivity that day. Don't let any of the negative energy and forces come that day. Let's just all focus on Superman that day, the positiveness, the excitement about all things Superman. So not just the Superman movie, but all things Superman. So let's start to get amped up and ready for that. And I think that's the best way to start moving forward is to maybe start getting our minds away from these guys. The less we focus on them, maybe, and I got to practice this myself. The less we focus on these people, the more we focus on the positive, the easier it'll be come April 18th. All right. What do we have here? There's a lot. Whoa. There's a lot of stuff going on here, man. And Donovan says Sean deserves to be called out for his bad faith arguments, and I get that. I see it all the time. Like I said, I see it all the time, and I agree. I haven't watched enough of his stuff or seen enough of his stuff. He did comment on my video with Matt Jarbo, but he didn't really say anything that I felt like I needed to address directly. So that's all. Matthew got at, we were lucky to see Superman on television. I grew up on George Reeves and Chris Reeve on television. No one had a VCR until the middle of the 1980s. In my family, late 80s, cassette films was new as a concept. Yeah, man. I remember when I was a kid, I had a VCR, and it was wild. Like it wasn't like a thing that everybody had. Not everybody had a VCR. It was nuts. Hope for Life. Oh, you're talking to Resident Justice there. You guys talking about how he gets around. It's okay, man. It's nice. I wish I had more time to get around myself. I'm trying to. Matthew says the instant culture on the internet, knowing every aspect of the film before it's released, is not something we had as children. We had surprises unless a trailer spoiled a film. Absolutely. I tell this story all the time. When I was a kid in 1999, I was 12, 13 years old in 99. My mom literally let me stay home from school. It may have even been 1998. Whenever the first trailer dropped for Star Wars: The Phantom Menace, and it was on, like, what was it, like Good Morning America or something? I don't know, one of those shows. My mom let me stay home from school just so I could watch it on TV in the morning. That's how big it was, because that was the only way you could see it. That was the only way you could watch that kind of stuff. And like, it was like you watched it, and if you didn't see it, the only way you could see it, yeah, there were computers back then, but not everybody had computers. Not everybody had internet at that point in time. So the only way that you could see it is hoping for a replay on Entertainment Tonight later that night or something like that. It was wild back then, guys. The 90s and the 80s, man, it was a wild time for you young kids. You have no idea. Resident Justice, things are quiet. I imagine you'll be getting the next Superman trailer on April 1st for CinemaCon or April 18th for Superman Day. Just the calm before the storm. You're exactly right. Kavari, Slav, Matt Jarbo is open and having you on for a conversation surrounding Superman. Yes, I do know that. And I know he wanted me to jump on his stream last night. I take full responsibility. I was not aware that his streams were so late, and I wake up early in the mornings for work, so I was already in bed, and his stream went. So I woke up in the morning, and I saw people messaging me and tagging me on X saying, "Hey, he's live now. You need to get on. You need to get on." And I was all like, by the time people were messaging and tagging me on X, I was asleep. So it is on me. I wasn't aware that he was in Washington State and that he was 3 hours behind. So that's on me. Where else? Resident Justice says, Sean has a different opinion. Doesn't mean he's acting in bad faith. I disagree with 90% of the things he said about this movie and its marketing, but I don't think ill of him. You guys are Anthony Kerrigan. Thank you, Resident Anthony Kerrigan. For some reason, I was thinking Michael Kerrigan. I don't know why I was thinking Michael Kerrigan. Resident Justice, that's his opinion. No, you're talking to Donovan there. Let's see. What else do we got? Matthew says there have been all sorts of eras to the Superboy TV era. Then we had New Adventures of Superman animated series. And we had Smallville. No film since Quest for Peace until Superman Returns. Lawrence says, I agree. I'm just looking for the positive aspects of the movie. Trayvon says, for me, all I do with the negative thrown about Superman is send the shut your stupid smacking guy meme and Eddie Murphy's Buddy Loves laugh from the Nutty Professor. There you go. Nico says, we had Betamax and VHS. Well, look at you, Mr. Money Bags. Come on now. Andre Oliveira. What do you think will be the value in terms of box office that everyone will agree as being a success, not counting profit? So I think a lot of people, now this isn't the studio, because I think the studio's number is going to be vastly different from what the audience thinks. And I've said that for a while. I think the audience as a whole, I think will come to an agreement of like 750 being a success. I do think that's what even the naysayers, even the Aaron Fischers and the Matt Jarbos and the S for Hopes and all those people on X, all those people that the stems and all them that really want this movie to fail. I think they'll all agree that if it hits 750, there's no way that they can say that it's a failure, because it will have done better than Man of Steel. It will have absolutely more than doubled its money, and it will have done far better than what the medium is for comic book superhero movies today. I think for the studio, for James Gunn and the executives there, I think it's lower than that. I think success for them is lower. I don't know how much lower, but I think if it hits a little bit lower and it has a lot of positive reviews on both the critic and fan side, and it's lower, maybe it's 650, maybe it's 600. But if it's very positive coming out of it and it's only 650, they may view that as a huge success, because it's pushing everything forward, and they see everything moving forward in a positive way for DC. That's how I see it. Trayvon says, in 99, I wasn't even thought of. Boy. All right. Gonna move on. Critic Chris says, I remember DVD players being advertised. You have senses. You use them. I remember my brother worked at Blockbuster when DVD players became a thing. And when not the Matrix? Well, the Matrix came out, but I don't know if you remember, there was another movie called, I think it was The 13th Floor, which was like marketed to be similar to the Matrix. It was like all like they kind of marketed with like the green and the weird lettering and stuff like that. My brother worked at Blockbuster, and he literally rented from his store a DVD player so he could bring home a copy of The 13th Floor to watch that on DVD. Those were the days. Yeah. Weird times. Andre says, I always like to bring the lengthy response questions. Yes, you do. All right. Next thing. Batgirl. interesting topic of Batgirl this week. Let me tell you. So we talked about Looney Tunes the other day during my other live show, Slav's Free Talk podcast. And while that show was going on, some big news kind of dropped. And thanks to my viewers, they brought it to my attention that it looks like Looney Tunes, Coyote vs. Acme or Acme, whatever it is, could be sold to another company to be released. Catch Up Entertainment, I think is what they're called. Well, what does that do? What do you expect to happen when Warner Brothers sells an IP of some sort or a movie of some sort? It gets a certain crowd riled up. Well, obviously you have the Snyder Bros all riled up and saying, well, if you can sell that, then you can sell the Snyderverse to Netflix or something. But you also have a group of fans who want to see Batgirl released. Now, coincidentally, this coincides, this whole ordeal with Batgirl, people now saying release Batgirl, coincides with just the other day, just yesterday, leaked footage, behind the scenes footage, I guess, or not behind the scenes, but it was like footage, incomplete footage of a fight scene from Batgirl was leaked. And people were like going crazy over it. Now the footage has been taken down. Hopefully, I don't know if you got a chance to see it, but it's drawn up a lot of like controversy where people are like, this movie needs to be released. This movie needs to be released. Release this movie. Release this movie. Now, I think you all know, I've talked about this a lot. This movie is not going to get released, guys. I mean, it's not. They never completed this movie, first of all. This movie was never completed. It was, I don't know, probably a good 6 months away from completion when they shelved it. So it was not completed. Now, Coyote vs. Acme was done. It's done. That's why they could sell that and get it out there and it can be released. But Batgirl was not complete. So you're still looking at a decent chunk of money that needs to be put into it for it to be completed. Not only that, now I'm going to be showing a clip here momentarily from John Campia's show. And they talked heavily about this as well. And yeah, some of what I say may sound exactly like what they say, but we've talked about this on my show before. It doesn't make sense to release a movie like this when you're starting to get the DC universe off the ground. It's the same thing that I've said about David Ayer's Suicide Squad. Look, the time for David Ayer's Suicide Squad to be released has come and gone. If they didn't release it before Creature Commandos came out, it's not getting released anytime soon. The time has come and gone. The DCU has pretty much unofficially started. You don't release something that is not part of the DCU at this point in time unless it's the Batman, because the Batman is an established universe that's moving forward, that's continuing, that they've talked about continuing, it was successful. You're not going to release something from a failed universe that you have publicly stated is a dead universe and is canceled and is done. So you're not going to return and say, well, Batgirl's coming out. It doesn't make sense. They're not going to do that. You're not going to confuse your general audience, which you're trying to get invested into a new universe right now. That just doesn't make any sense. So while sure, the fighting scenes that leaked looked decent, they looked all right, but that doesn't tell me that the whole movie was watchable. Remember, that was the whole thing, was the movie was unwatchable. The movie was unwatchable, they say. So sure, the fighting scenes may have been good, but how was the acting? How was the dialogue? How was the overall story? We don't know. We don't know. And if it was unwatchable, then why do we want to see it? Why should we see it? Now, a lot of people were saying, well, this is exactly what James Gunn wanted when he canceled it. Well, James Gunn didn't cancel it. James Gunn didn't come into the fold until after this was canceled. This was canceled before James Gunn came into the fold. So this has nothing to do with James Gunn. He didn't cancel this. This was not done under his leadership. It was not done under Peter Safran's leadership. This was done before DC Studios was even a thing. Now, granted, yes, DC Studios would now have a say in what happens if it was to come back up or anything like that. But now, today, no. They're not going to release it. It's not going to happen. It's just, there's no point to it. Just like the time has come and gone for David Ayer Suicide Squad. So people who think that's going to happen, it's not a smart move. It's just not a smart move. I forgot to change the photo here. Replace the screen share. You guys got to yell at me. Maybe you did, and I just didn't see it. There we go. So here's the Batgirl stuff right there. It's just not going to happen. It's not. I don't think there's any way that it can be released and be successful, or actually not just be successful, but be beneficial. That's probably the better word to use. There's no way for it to be beneficial. But let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear what you had to say in the comments below. What do you have to say over here? Hungry Almighty says, nobody cared about Batgirl till they found out there was a Batgirl movie being made and found out it was canceled. True. Trayvon says, say what you will about Campia. He sticks to what he says from the start. From the start, he constantly made it known that Batgirl was a bad movie. Critic Chris says, I think people want Batgirl just for it to flop and blame Gunn, even if it's not DCU. That's probably true. What happened to my screen? What is going on? Let's see. Hope for Life says, I saw, but it doesn't not give me any desire to see the full movie. Looks like a CW show, in my opinion. There you go. Matthew Gaudette says, Robert Meyer Burnett is, I don't always agree with him, but I'm simpatico over Kurtzman's Star Trek, and I was friendly with Bob Orci as an agree to disagree and engage in dialogue. Trayvon says, that cult sent death threats to David Ayer. Trust me, any push for the release of the Ayer cut will always be hollow at best. Very true. Trayvon says, Batgirl getting canceled before James Gunn arrived was something I've mentioned on X. Yeah, people just don't, but they don't, it's not that they don't remember it, they just refuse to acknowledge the facts. They, again, as they always love to spread misinformation and lies to try and push their own narrative and such. Matthew Goddard says, I don't expect perfection from people, but Campion and Burnett were late to Kathy Kennedy having no idea what she was doing as head of Lucasfilm. Most fans had that figured out after The Last Jedi, if not after Solo. Hey, look, I liked Solo. It wasn't a perfect film, but I liked Solo. But yeah, Last Jedi was bad. I was a little late to the party for Kathy Kennedy too, guys. I'm not going to sit there and say like I knew right away. I was a little late to the party, but it wasn't so much the Kathy Kennedy thing. It was just my love for Star Wars just ran so deep, and I just didn't want to believe it was that bad. Donovan says, unfortunately, people like Jarbo become cynical people because of today's primary hopeless society where hope is a few and far between, but characters like Superman will always keep hope timeless. Agree. Hungry Almighty, man, I just want the DCU to come now. I am an impatient dude. I really want to see Green Lantern and the Bat family like right now. Yes, me too. Me too. All right. So speaking of Robert Meyer Burnett, what's going on, Aaron? How's it going? What's up, man? Glad you can stop by. Glad to see you here. But speaking of Robert Meyer Burnett, I want to share this here, which I think is a very interesting topic to discuss. So, yeah, I'm just going to play this, and then we'll talk about it here. Real quick, Jonathan Noble says, did you hear about International League for something? Right after this, we're going to get to that here shortly. So don't worry, we're going to talk about that. That's kind of the big news I want to talk about. All right, so let's talk about this here.
You know, the DC brand is undergoing right now an entire reinvention. It's not just Superman coming out in July. You've got a Supergirl film that's in the middle of production right now. And they've made a substantial financial investment into this. You have Creature Commandos that we've already seen. You have a substantial monetary investment coming out. The studio is really bullish on this. You know, the thing about Superman is in our space, I only heard from people who work within the industry that Superman is really good. That's all I've heard. You know, the people that have poo-pooed it, at least that I've heard from the industry, are not poo-pooing it in a way that I believe is bad. It's more like they're like, do you think it's really wise that a superhero movie they're bringing a new? If the movie's good, like you always say, winning cures everything.
Yeah.
So he makes a good point. Basically, like I was saying about Batgirl, you know, you're not going to put out, release Batgirl when you're creating a DCU. This is a brand new universe. And then he gets into this whole thing about what he's hearing. And what he's hearing is that people are really, really enjoying the movie, that it's a good movie. Now, I am going to pull this up here because Aaron's here. I'm going to pull this up. He says, never trust people in the industry. And to a point, he's not completely wrong. Aaron is not completely wrong here because you can't always trust people in the industry. And, people will push and say, hey, things are great, things are great, things are great. But this also goes hand in hand where you have to, at some point, have some people that you rely on. I mean, it's kind of like this. Like, I always sit there and say, you don't want to trust critics. You don't trust critics. You want to go and watch a movie for yourself to really, get your opinion on a movie. But you will always find somebody that you listen to, a YouTuber or some kind of film reviewer or a critic or somebody like that you agree with from time to time, that you trust. And you will find that person from time to time that you trust. And so you'll take what they say and you will say, you know what, I agree and agree with what they say or like what I hear from them from time to time. And you know what, I'm going to put a little more weight on what they say compared to what some other people say. And that's okay. That is okay. I mean, people do it with scoopers all the time, even though I don't trust a single scooper myself, but people will do that with scoopers as well. They'll take what leaks one scooper gives and say, I trust their leak better than this person's leak. That's what people do. I am a big fan of Robert Meyer Burnett. I am. John Campea, he's hit or miss with me. I can take him sometimes. I mean, I used to be a big fan of his, and then it's just kind of hit or miss with him. But Burnett, I've always been a fan of his for years. I trust what he says. I trust that he has actually heard that it's a good movie. That's what I trust. Now, is that information true? That's the next thing. Is that information true? I believe it's true. Now, is that me wanting to believe that it's true because I want it to be a good movie? Sure. There's definitely a big part of that's the case. But there's also a part of me that realizes there's nothing for me to believe that it's not true. Again, because from what I've seen, and we know that all film is subjective, but nothing from what I've seen makes me believe that it's not going to be a good movie, that it's going to be, or that it's not going to be a good movie. You know what I'm trying to say. So from my standpoint, I think, hey, Robert Meyer Burnett has heard that it's a good movie. Okay, cool. That's a plus. That's a bonus. And the more that we start to hear that from different people, the more that it's going to become more of a reality that, hey, this is probably going to be a good movie, or this is definitely going to be a good movie. And that's the way I kind of take it. So this is exciting to hear from my standpoint, because I like Robert Meyer Burnett. I trust what he says. And let's not forget, and I know you guys don't like, specifically, Aaron, you're here, and I know you don't like when people just add in and throw in Snyder Cut stuff. But let's not forget, Robert Meyer Burnett was somebody who was very big on the Snyderverse and talked highly of it on the build up to the Snyder Cut being released and, stuff like that. So, he is somebody who, when he has information and is given information, he will speak highly of it and will give that information out when there's good to be talked about it or when there's bad. So I trust him in that regard. Whether it's true or not, it is what it is. But he's not wrong, because the studio is being very, very bullish, like he said, with this universe. They believe that this universe is going to be huge for him, and that needs to be huge for him. And we know that. I don't think they're going to allow Superman to fail. And that's kind of a big difference between putting a movie out and saying, hey, here's a movie and here's our little marketing and hopefully it's good. And this movie needs to be good. James Gunn needs to make a good movie. James Gunn makes a good movie. And then we really push it and make sure it succeeds. There's a big difference. And I think James Gunn understands that. And Peter Safran understands that. And I think when you look at the whole landscape of everything, and I go back to this all the time, is you take a look at the genre as a whole right now. It is in a transitional period. There is an issue with the genre. The audience is looking for something. Marvel's not giving it to them. DC was not giving it to them. The audience wants something. James Gunn acknowledged that before filming even started on Superman. James Gunn acknowledged that. Does he deliver? Does his acknowledgement, does he put that to paper? Does he put that to screen? Does his acknowledgement actually transition to pen, to paper, to screen? If it does, is that what the audience wants? And I think there's a good chance it is. At the very least, it's going to be different than what we've had before. And sometimes different is good, sometimes it's not. And I think in this case, and again, this is my opinion, I think this is going to be good. I think this is the breath of fresh air that is needed for the genre to succeed, to move in a new direction right now. Because it truly needs a breath of fresh air. It needs something new and fresh. And I think this is what it needs right now. I don't know. What do you guys think about Burnett's comments? I want to know what you guys think in the comments. So throw them down in the comments below. What do you guys have to say over here? You guys are really going at it. Oh, Real Anarchy's here. What's going on, Anarchy? What's up, man? Oh, man. A whole bunch of stuff going on over here. I'm not going to be able to keep up with this chat, guys. So I will just pick and choose with some things you guys are saying here. Aaron says, look at what happened with The Flash, biggest burn in superhero film history. Look, I've had this conversation before. Maybe not with you, Aaron. You're right. The Flash was a burn for everybody. I still hold true that I think the story was a solid story. I think if it was executed better, I'll say executed better. I think if it was executed better and it had a different star, not Ezra Miller, I think the movie would have succeeded way more. I think the story was fine. I enjoyed the movie for what it was, but you're not wrong. I mean, it was a big burn. It was. But when you really get down to it, this isn't The Flash. This isn't the same studio. This is not the same group of people. This is different people. Peter Safran, I get it. Peter Safran was there. He's the only one. This is a different group of people. The cinematographer, whatever. Creatively overhauled. They understand that this is important. More important than The Flash was, more important than any movie before this was for DC. And I think that's why this is different. Real Anarchy says Robert M. is always on point with his unbiased takes. Exactly. That's what I was trying to say when it came to the Snyder stuff. That's a better way of putting it. Unbiased. Like, he was on point, talked truth when it came to the Snyderverse stuff. He's on point when it comes to really anything. He is. Let's see. Rianarchy says, don't trust people in industries, but take a Scooper's word as if it's gospel. Special one who's been a hater. Gotcha, man. I see what you're putting down, Rio. Andre says, Robert doesn't always speak about those things. He's not the guy to just speak stuff based on vague rumors. Again, that's very true. He's not a scooper. And I said this a couple weeks ago when that stuff came out about Superman, where one person heard this, one person heard that, and John Campea said, "Well, I heard this." Like, again, these guys are commentators; they're not scoopers. So when they talk about stuff that they hear, they're not doing this to get a scoop. They're not doing it to get a quick, 5 seconds of fame. They're literally talking about what they hear. So that's the difference. Let's see. Real Anarchy. Yeah, you were talking about Snyder. I picked up what you were putting down, Real. Trayvon says, "You want a true hater, Real Anarchy? Our movie news crapping on Fleischer's Superman suit. He deserves a swirly for that." I didn't hear about that. Let's see. Lawrence Fury says, "I look at the people who worked on the movie, looking at the Superman crew, it is very likely the movie will be successful." I mean, you have Aaron here who says the crew are the people you should trust the least. I don't agree with that. When it comes to the crew, for instance, take a look at, and Aaron, I know you're somebody who is not a fan of how James Gunn does stuff, but you look at every James Gunn film and you look at the cast and crew and the way they talk about James Gunn. Every single cast and crew will come out and say how great it is to work with James Gunn, how much fun it is to work with James Gunn, how great he is to work with, how meticulous he is, how, like detailed oriented he is, how he likes to do, how he shoots movies, and so on and so forth. When they talk like that about a director, to me, what that tells me is that there's a lot of trust between the cast and crew and the director and what's going on set. Does that guarantee and mean that the movie is going to be great? No, because you can be meticulous, you can be detail oriented and have everything, all your ducks in a row, and it could just be a shitty movie. Absolutely. That could happen. But you could also sit there and say, well, you take a look at his filmography and you take a look, all of his movies were enjoyable. Whether they were massively successful or massively not, or massively not, but like critically successful. So either big box office or critics loved it or fans loved it, whatever it is, the cast and crew always love working with him. So in some form or fashion, there's something right going on the set with his movies. And the movies don't ever turn out like crap. They're never terrible movies. And that's kind of the thing that, when you look at his films, they're not bad movies. They're not terribly shot. They're not terribly written. They're not badly produced. They're not badly edited. They're all done really well. Now, are they as masterfully, is the cinematography as masterfully done as something that Zack Snyder has shot? No, because we know Zack Snyder has a great eye for cinematography. That's his niche. Like, that's what he does. He's got a great eye for that type of thing. Is it as detail oriented as a Christopher Nolan movie where there's all these meticulous details that you have to pay attention to? Well, no, Nolan and his brother Jonathan are really meticulous when they write those movies, and they like to put those little twists and turns in them. But James Gunn, he has his niche, and he does what he does very well. So when you sit back and take a look at it, yeah, I would trust the cast and crew on what they say about working on a James Gunn movie, because you hear it time and time and time again. Now, if it was just one time and every other time we've heard shit about it, then I'd say, yeah, you probably wouldn't want to trust it. But we hear it all the time, so I think it's safe to trust what the cast and crew say. Let's see. Oh, man. Yeah, sure. Let's do this real quick. I see you. I will do this, and I will do somehow. I can do this real quick like that. There we go. I got about 15 minutes. While I'm waiting for that, let's jump over here. 2 quick things. This just dropped about an hour ago. J. Alphonse Nicholson has been cast for Lanterns. Looks like, oh man, it's not pulling up. What is with my share screen? There we go. There we go. J. Alphonse Nicholson will be cast in Lanterns. I think he's playing, I guess he's supposedly playing Jon Stewart's father, maybe? But he's going to be like in a flashback as young. I don't know. I don't know how it's working. I don't even know who he is because like I even pulled up his IMDb. I've never seen him in anything. I don't think. Is he a singer? I think I saw. I don't know. But I never really saw him in anything. So I don't know if he's really any good. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it'll be interesting, good, not good. We'll see. We'll see. We shall see. And then finally, I want to talk about this real quick. So, it looks like this was posted. This looks like kanji of some sort, maybe. Japanese, one of the Japanese alphabets. What is going on with my sharing screen? It just doesn't want to work. This is getting annoying. There we go. It looks like there is possibly something happening tomorrow, which is today for them, because it is the 21st already for them. So something could be dropping any moment now. Now, some people are speculating that it could be a teaser for the trailer that could be coming, or it could be something else. I think it's a little early for that because if let's say they drop a trailer during CinemaCon, which is on April 1st for Warner Brothers. If they do that, that's like a week and a half away still. And I think that's a little early. Plus, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think what's going to happen, this is my honest assessment. I think they're going to drop a trailer at CinemaCon for the attendees at CinemaCon, and then that trailer is not going to come out to the public until April 18th. That's what I think is going to happen for a trailer. So I could be off on that. It could come out the same day. It could come out the next day. I just have a feeling that they may do something like that. I hope not. Hope not. Aaron, if you're there, I did send you a link on X to come on. That's the only way I know how to get a hold of you. So if you want to jump on for about 10, 15 minutes, I think you're here. Maybe. Yep, there he is. All right. I'll get him on in a minute. But I see Rio Anarchy says, I think it's just toys, merch, or event. I think you're right on that. I don't think it's going to be anything more than that. When you're ready, Aaron, let me know. Okay. All right. Let's pull you up. What's going on, man?
Hey, how you doing?
What's up?
I'm surviving.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm just glad to be alive. I will tell you that.
Yeah. Oh, you had a crazy few months there.
Yeah, I actually, I can't talk about much because, we got lawyers involved, but I almost died from a pulmonary embolism last month.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, it was, there was one video I couldn't breathe and, yeah, it got pretty bad. So, yeah, we got a lot of stuff. I can't wait till I can tell that whole story. It's just crazy, but I don't ever recommend getting hit by a car.
I wouldn't ever want to be hit by a car.
So I'm grateful to just be here. I can't, to be honest with you, I can't sit in here for more than 15 minutes at a time anyway. So
Gotcha. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we can go for about 10 minutes or so. No problem.
Yeah. So, I want people to know, because I know a lot of your viewers really don't like me, and I want to make something very clear. And I'm going to be doing a video about this on my channel here in the next day or so. I don't hate James Gunn. Okay, I've never said I hate James Gunn. I like Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 3 and Slither. Those are the only films he's ever done that I like. Everything else, I don't. I don't like his style. I don't think his style is going to fit for DC. And I have legitimate fears about Superman turning out the same way. If it ends up being like Guardians of the Galaxy, they're going to have problems. The general audience does not resonate with goofy superhero films. They just don't. And so I've never told anybody to trust what I say. I'm not a scooper. I've said that before. You're not a scooper, right? And people like us won't claim to be scoopers. We have opinion channels, and we can talk about that. Your opinion is way different than mine. There's nothing wrong with that. I have no animosity towards you. I don't have any animosity towards anybody. And I find it strange when the hate comes my way, when I have never said anything bad about anybody, ever. I don't attack people, and I never will. And that's a promise. So I'm really hoping that, I think those concerns are misplaced, not by everything, not by everything I've seen James Gunn ever do. Now, I do want to address one thing you said about the cast and the crew. You know, same thing with Zack Snyder. Do you know the way the cast and crew talk about his films? It's the same thing.
Yeah, I know. Oh, again, and with that, I mean, I've talked to you about this, and I say this all the time. I'm a fan of Zack Snyder's. You know,
Right,
I
right.
am.
I know you
I am
are.
a fan of
I know
Zack
you are.
Snyder's, and when it comes down to it, and just like I said with what I was saying there, just because the cast and crew say great things about the director and how great it was working on the film, that doesn't always mean that the movie's going to be great. And,
That was
and
my
for
point.
instance, in my opinion, take a look at Rebel Moon. You know, for me, Rebel Moon was not a good movie, and I know Zack Snyder is a good
Right.
director. Rebel Moon was not it. So, you know, so it can happen, and I get that. And in that regard, you know, but when you hear it more often than not, I tend to agree more with the actors and the crew and the cast, and say, hey, you know, they might be onto something, that hey, what they're saying does add up. And that's why the next movie that Zack Snyder makes, which sounds like is going to be that police drama, I'm going to be there first day watching it, you know, because I know what he is, and I know the cast and crew are going to talk highly of it, and I'm going to be excited for it. Same thing with James Gunn. When they sit there and start talking about, you know, they've already been talking about it, you know, I trust what they say. And that's kind of, you know, I look at it both ways. And if the cast and crew came out and said, oh, it's terrible, which, you know, they're not going to do anyways.
No, that's my point. Nobody's going to do that. They're not going to talk their own film.
But a lot of times, and not always, but a lot of times, if they have nothing nice to say, they typically say nothing.
Correct. I agree. I totally agree. The reason, you guys have to understand where I'm coming from, and I don't know, you know, how much people know about me, you know, your group of people that follow you. Everybody has a skewed opinion on YouTube. That's just it. Your channel's different. My channel's different. Another person's channel is going to be different. Everybody has a skewed mindset. It's the point of having an opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what it is. And so, yeah, mine, you have to understand, more than anything, I dislike Warner Brothers. I'm older than you are, probably by a long shot. And I remember what it was like to live through Superman 2. And there's a documentary on YouTube about what happened with Superman 2. I've seen what Warner Brothers has done time and time and time again, and I don't trust them anymore. The Flash was like the breaking point. I got to see the Flash early, way early. I got to, you know, to go to that screening, like, I don't know if it was like a month before or something like that. And they sat there and told us, hey, you guys are going to have to come back when it releases. We're not done with the special effects. There's going to be this awesome post-credit scene. There's going to be all this amazing stuff that you're not going to get to see here in the theater today. So what did I do? Bam. Opening night, I was there. It was exactly the same. There was nothing was changed. Nothing was updated. The only thing they added was the stupid scene with Momoa falling, you know, drunk into the water puddle. And I'm like, I'm done. I don't trust Warner Brothers. I will never trust them again. And it doesn't matter who's involved. Zaslav's just the same as everybody else who's come in. I have no reason to trust them. They have to give me a reason. Am I open to Superman being a good film? Yeah. I've told everybody, and you can see this by my reviews. I'm going to go in there day one. I'm going to be there day one. And if it's a good film, I will tell everybody it's a good film. If it's not, I'll be honest. The one thing I am always is honest with my reviews. I can't be bought. I can't be bought by a studio or anybody. My opinions are always my own. People can see that with my Indiana Jones review. You know, a lot of people hated that movie. I actually really liked it. There's Rebel Moon. I really enjoyed those movies too. I didn't think they were amazing, but they were really, to me, they were really good films. But they're not for everybody. It's a small niche. And so I will go in and be honest when the movie comes out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I hope, I mean, for me, I hope so. And my son, not my son, I'm sorry, a buddy of mine at work, sorry, I was just texting my son. A buddy of mine at work said the other day, because he watches my channel, and he knows the little rift you and I have.
Yeah.
And he mentioned the other day, he goes, how funny would it be if you both came out of the theater and completely flipped your feelings on the movie?
Wouldn't that be trippy? Wouldn't that be trippy? But that's how I go in. There is nothing written in stone in this film. What I know, though, at this stage is Warner Brothers has got to step it up. They have got to give the audience something to get excited about, because for me, that teaser trailer had to be like, it was the most just flatline trailer. It does nothing to get you excited for the film. I'm sorry. A lot of people say it's all full of hope. Not once during that trailer does Superman smile. He's beat down. The kid screaming his name is not necessarily hope. The thing with the dog was cute, but there is nothing in that makes me go, I got to see this film. They have to show us something. And someone was, going on with me. I don't know who it is. Like Donovan Martin was saying, I actually went out this weekend and I talked about this on a video. I really wanted to know what is going on with the general public. Do they even know this movie is coming? And this weekend, I finally got out for the first time since my accident. I went all over the place doing different activities, and everywhere I went, I would strike up conversations with people, and I always bring up movies. And I talked about Superman specifically. And what I got from everybody I talked to is, number one, the general audience is tired of superhero films, which I didn't think was true. But everybody I talked to, that was the first thing that they mentioned, that we're just tired of superhero films. The second thing was that they had no idea Superman. I didn't meet one person that I talked to, not one person even had any idea a Superman movie was coming out. You know who knows a Superman movie is coming out? People like you and I, the people who are plugged in and are looking for this stuff. But the general audience has no idea this movie is even coming. And it's less than 4 months away. Think about that.
I mean, we're right around the time when the marketing for movies like this will start to ramp up, and that's when the interest, and not the interest, but I won't say the interest, but that's when the
General audience.
The general audience will start to know that it's coming more than anything. I mean, that teaser trailer, that's where you get a good amount of people like, hey, there's something coming.
Yes.
And at that point in time, people, it'll go in the back of their mind. They'll know it's there. Some will remember, some won't. But then once the marketing really ramps up, that's when because then it's going to be there all the time. You're going to see it on toy shelves, store shelves. Hopefully. You're going to see it on cereal boxes. You're going to see it everywhere. So they're not going to be able to get away from it. They're going to know it's coming.
We'll see. Do you remember the Batman?
Yeah.
They were pushing the Batman long before this. You couldn't go anywhere and not see the Batman stuff everywhere. That was long before that 4-month mark hit. It was a long period of time. And they haven't even started that with this. And if you notice with Mickey 17, they said today it's going to have about a $75 million loss for the studio. $75 million. They didn't advertise that movie. They've got another big movie. Warner Brothers has another big movie releasing this weekend. I've seen absolutely nothing for that film. They are not advertising their movies. And
they aren't.
They have got to do something with Superman, and they've got to do it soon. Because I go to the movies a lot, and I still have yet to see even the Superman teaser in theaters. It's just not being played.
I haven't seen it in the theaters myself either, which has been disappointing. Like, I'm surprised that they didn't find a way to make sure that it was on Captain America. Like, it should have been at every screening of Captain America.
Yeah, they're just not promoting. They're not promoting anything. And someone posted about this today that, Mickey 17 should have been a film people should go see because it was something new. Don't tell us that. Tag the studio and tell them to start promoting their films. That's where everyone is dropping off right now. Warner Brothers is not doing anything to promote their stuff. If it's not a big property, you're not going to know about it. And Superman, they have got to go into high gear. I need to see something. Like, I want to see something that's going to get me excited, and I just haven't yet.
Well, maybe CinemaCon does it for you if they release the trailer that day.
Oh, they'll have to. They'll have to. They can't keep that one back. They're going to have to release it for people to see.
Like I said, when it comes to that trailer, I just have a weird feeling because with Superman Day being so close, I just have this weird feeling that they're going to show that trailer at CinemaCon and then wait until the 18th to release to the public. I hope they don't do that. I just have this weird feeling they're going to pull some stupid move like that. Yes, it is a stupid move if they do it.
They can't. And they would be smart. Like, what day is CinemaCon? What day of the week is it?
April 1st, I think it's a Tuesday.
Okay, so by Thursday of that week, it should be in theaters. Thursday of that week, it should be in theaters. And I mean, there's some big movies coming up that people are going to go see. Like, they got the movie with Jason Statham coming out. They should have a Superman trailer on that. Like, there are movies coming up that people are actually going to go to the theater to see that don't need a whole lot of promotion.
Oh, look, Minecraft comes out that Thursday. It's going to be attached to Minecraft. 100%.
It needs to be.
It's going to be. So, yeah, that trailer is going to be out on April 1st for everybody to see. It's going to be attached to Minecraft. Yeah.
Yeah, and they also need to change. Someone mentioned, that people are waiting to see stuff from home, and they are. I think Mickey 17 is going to be, what did they say? Was it 17 days after something like that? Some crazy, it's going to streaming super quick. And that's the problem. People are now waiting, I'll wait a couple of weeks and I can watch it at home. Back when I was a kid, you'd have to wait an entire year before you could watch that movie at home.
Oh, I know. Man, 1989 Batman, I think, was in theaters for like a year.
Yeah. And they used to come out on videotape, so you could rent them from the store.
And then you couldn't own it for a while.
You couldn't own it for an entire year. Streaming has ruined the movie theaters. And until they really realize what they've done to hurt their own business, things aren't going to change because there are too many people that are like, I'll just wait till it comes out on streaming.
Yeah.
I just will. And they have created this mess. Hollywood has created this mess.
100%.
They're going to have to do something to fix it. They need to go back to the old model.
I mean, let's face it. I mean, Mickey 17 it shouldn't have cost as much as it did to make. That's partially, the studio's fault for giving him Bo Jung Hu or whatever, however his name is, but giving him that much money to make it was a lot of money. But it's still, though, they didn't market it, and I mean, there's a lot of issues, and honestly. We could go for a while here talking about Warner Brothers marketing for sure, but it's not just Warner Brothers. We're seeing this with other studios as well.
Yeah. I totally agree. The Jason Statham movie that's coming out, I've seen a ton of stuff for that. Why can't these other movies be like that? Like I said, the other Warner Brothers movie coming out this weekend, they're going to lose money on it. They already know they're going to lose money on it. They haven't promoted it. I just don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's wild, but. I don't know, man. You and I, we disagree on what's going to happen with Superman, I think. And I see Sean O'Rourke in here. He's been sitting here saying that it's going to be mid and it's not going to do well. And
I don't think it's going to do well either. I don't think the general public is going to appreciate them changing out Superman when the thing with Marvel, and I give kudos to Marvel because I'm really enjoying the Daredevil series. But they brought those people back after a 7-year hiatus. Like, come on. The one thing that Marvel has done right is they've kept the same people in the same roles, no matter what's happened with the reception. And DC should have done the same thing. And Superman just needed a course correction on the tone. Had they gotten the guy who directed Mission Impossible, holy crap. Can you envision a Superman film with the guy who did Mission Impossible?
Yeah. I agree.
That would have been a hit. That would have been a huge hit. But no, they decided to reboot, and there was no reason to do that. And it's unfortunate because they can't change course now. They're all in. Like, they're riding on this hard, but they're not promoting it.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean,
Yeah.
I look at everything differently than you and what Sean looks at, or how you guys look at it. I think the general audience will accept it. I think people will get excited about it as we get closer, especially as we get closer. I think fans and audience will get even more excited about it. But we'll see. I mean, I think what'll be really telling is where the hype is come like the beginning of June, where the hype is, because at that point in time, we're going to have trailers, we're going to have TV spots for Superman, Jurassic World, and Fantastic Four at that
Hopefully.
time. So we'll, yeah.
Hopefully.
So at that time, I think it'll be really interesting to see where the hype is for Superman. Then again, I also, I think it's also going to be an uphill battle for the other two, because I think the hype, there's hype and there's some more knowledge about Superman now than there is for the other two. Granted, yes, I know Jurassic World has that following, but
It's gonna,
you know,
that one's gonna be huge.
each one did less than the previous one. The last three, each one did less and less money. The last one barely made $1 billion, and Scarlett Johansson and Mahershala Ali are not Chris Pratt. Chris
No.
Pratt has a much bigger name than the two of them.
Agreed.
Granted, both of them are, I think, award winners and more nominees than Chris Pratt was, but he is a bigger household name. So that kind of goes against it as well. So, you know, there's a lot of factors that play into what's going to happen with Jurassic World. And then same with Fantastic Four. When you take a look at Fantastic Four, Marvel's in a bad place right now. And while Daredevil, you're enjoying it, I'm enjoying it okay. A lot of people that I've been talking to have just been like, meh, it's all right. You know, like a lot of people aren't. Yeah.
I think you and I talked about this on Twitter, but it has to do with you got to release all the episodes at once.
Yeah.
I watched every time the Marvel shows came on Netflix. I binged them. Like,
Yeah, so did I.
days.
Yeah.
That's how people. That's the other thing that streaming has to realize. You've got to drop them all at once. This isn't network television. You know, you've got to drop everything at once and let people enjoy the entire story, because what they're doing with Daredevil is dependent on the entire season. It's not dependent on episode to episode. I think it's much harder for writers to write a cliffhanger each week than it is to write an entire season and give the story its due. And that's the problem with Daredevil. And that was the problem with every Marvel show. You got to binge them.
Yeah.
Not week to week.
But then you see what happened with Captain America. You've seen what's happened with the other TV shows. Agatha was not great. I know that the viewership went up and up with that, but it still wasn't great. Granted, Deadpool and Wolverine did good. I'll give them that. But I mean, that was 10 years in the making. Yeah. People were amped up for a while for that. So, you know, they're in a rough place. And I know Fantastic Four people are going to be excited about that. The potential of RDJ showing up maybe in that, because it's still not definite. You know, there's some excitement there. So it's a very interesting spot for those three movies, because there's a lot of question marks for all three.
It's going to be an interesting month.
So a lot of people saying, oh, Fantastic Four is going to take it easy. Well, no, look at Marvel. Jurassic World's going to take it easy. Well, no, because look at the past and look who's in it. You know, so it's going to be interesting. It really is.
It is. My issue, too, is, you know, with the economy the way it is, I just think people, you know, if you have a big family, and they're talking about families going to this. My kids are all grown now, and they can go when they want with their friends and whatnot. But if this was at a different time and I had these 3 family films to take my family to, you got to pick and choose. You can't do 3 big films in 1 month. That's a heck of a lot of money. I remember when I would take all 4 of my kids to the movies, and we'd spend well over $100 for one film, you know, between the tickets and the drinks and the popcorn. And that's just not possible with most of families today. So it makes me, I'm very worried about the movies, just all the movies in general, and what that's going to do. It would be nice to see another Barbenheimer thing happen where all 3 films do well, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think someone's going to get left out.
Yeah, probably. I mean, we'll see. Definitely we'll see. But I'm gonna let you go. I gotta get out of here. I gotta get to bed because I gotta be up early.
We'll do this again on maybe Star Wars or things we agree on.
Yeah, definitely. We should definitely.
Because I think we agree on everything else. I think it's just this.
Probably.
Yeah,
Probably.
So,
But all right, man. Thanks for coming by.
having me. Yep.
Yeah. All right, man. All right, everyone. Well, that was fun. That was interesting. I will be doing my show. Well, Monday's show might be a little bit later that night. I'll keep you all in the loop on that. I do got to get out of here. I can't get to all your chat. I see you guys all talking there. Hey, Sean O'Rourke, if you're on here, you guys are talking about stuff. Hey, you're another one. I will be more than happy to have you on and discuss with stuff on here, or I can come on your show or whatever. I know I still got to work it out, getting on Matt Jarbo's, all that kind of stuff. Look, I love conversation like what Aaron and I just had. That's what I like to do, is have discussions. So Sean, if you're willing to do at some point, I'd love to do it with you as well. Have a discussion about Superman, what's going on. But guys, I'm going to get out of here. It was a great stream. Thank you, Critic Chris. Thank you very much. But yes, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to hit the outro music, and we're going to get out of here. But I will have a show on Monday. I just don't know what time yet because I have to do something with my son. Hopefully, it could be regular time. It might be later. So I'll keep you guys all updated. All that said, guys, thank you so much. Hit that like button. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. I'm still close to 2,000 subscribers. I would love to hit it before the end of March. But please hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed. Hopefully, we see what's coming out tomorrow for Superman. Maybe it's merch. Maybe it's something cool, some kind of event coming up. Who knows? But we will definitely talk about that on Monday. All right, guys. I'll catch you all later.